So
it's not that they didn't get along. Uh-oh, here's a giveaway. This is Bouanga! You simply cannot give that man the ball. Look out. Son and Bouanga coming forward together. It's Son into the area. Son! Small comeback to Son. Son! He had time, he had space, he's got two!
Yeah, baby. Another week.
Fugazi now, man. I like it.
Another win, baby. Fugazi in the house. Section 128. This is Los Angeles, an LAFC podcast. I'm here with Erik Holstrom. How you doing, friend?
Good, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was at the Burbank Airport. Our old friend got stuck there. Took a car to Phoenix, Arizona. Drove 8 hours. Very, very similar, but a different ride, man. But how was your weekend? Did you watch the game, and where'd you watch it?
Of course, I watched the game, man. I watched it at my house on my very nice large TV in the living room on my Apple TV streaming service. You know, hey, Apple TV, sponsorship. Look at that shout out. Yeah, man, it was a great thing. I love the game. You know, there was a lot of great soccer on this weekend. Of course, some great Brasileiro games as well, which I know is the LAFC show, but great weekend of soccer.
Yeah, man, great week. Absolutely, LAFC unstoppable. I think that's the best word to describe him at the moment. We'll talk about the form, Cherundolo's 100th win, and we'll have a very special guest today, Tommy Moos. I hope I'm saying his name right. Tommy ATL on Twitter. Tommy ATL 96, right? Yeah. He's going to be talking to us about Atlanta United and this upcoming game and the bad season they're having. You know, they're supposed to be a big powerhouse in the East, and things are not going as expected. So we're looking forward to talking to him about it. But first, I asked Erik and I just to have about 15 minutes to get warmed up before he comes in. So he'll be coming in pretty soon. But Erik, first thoughts on another dub. 3-0. The dynamic duo continues to leave its mark every single game. 3 goals, one by I can't even keep up anymore. This time was one by Denis Bouanga and the brace by Sonny. First thoughts on a beautiful 3-0 win against St. Louis.
Man, I like the optimism I have with this team now is insane, you know, and man, the emotional roller coaster of this team. I mean, you know, we're pretty spoiled. It's not like we have long lulls. We expect the best. As fans, we bring the best to the stadium every single week. And so, you know, a lot of disappointments this season. And I've been there like, we're a 4th to 7th finisher in the West. But right now, man, I mean, I think we could push to 2nd, man. And if some things go our way, like, we have a shot. We have a shot. It's outside, but it's, you know, I maybe had us at a 1 or 2% chance before Sun showed up, and I think our chances are a little better than that, especially with the teams at the top kind of starting to struggle a little bit.
Absolutely. Not only that, but we did have a little bit of a softer schedule towards the end. You know, right now we're going to be playing Atlanta United, a team that is out of contention. We just played St. Louis, same situation, not having a good season. So say it or not, man, but like we've benefited from a softer season. We're going to play Toronto. They're out of contention. So there's a ton of teams in LAFC's future and present, you know, during this run, they are not necessarily showing their best form. Now, my question to you is this. There's a lot of optimism on your part, but I am still concerned that we're just beating bad teams, and we've seen this movie before. Do you think this form holds against the top of the West? Because the last game we saw against the top of the West, we lost.
Yeah, I think so. And when we lost that game, we did not have Denny Bouanga. So
Correct.
The whole problem teams have now is we have two attackers that are so explosive that they require more attention than teams can give to them. And this is allowing us to put more of a pressing side out. Like what Cherundolo has been able to do is basically add a pressing midfielder into our starting lineup. And so all of a sudden our press is even better, which means that we're turning over the ball more, and we have the best transition attackers in the league now with Bouanga and Son. Both of them are fast, both of them are deadly, and they're playing well with each other. So they turned that ball over, and we saw it. Like the first turnover in that game of St. Louis resulted in a goal. You know, one sloppy pass is all it takes, and Denny's on net.
Takes.
And later in the game, the third goal, another sloppy pass, turned it over to Son, took it to the house. And so this is something that is very difficult. And and again today, I find myself often on Twitter, giving lessons on the MLS salary cap rules and how our roster build and salary cap greatly favors attackers over defenders. So the attackers are very overpowered all the time. And right now, we are getting more results out of two attackers up front than we were getting out of three attackers up front. And this really makes us a dominant team, and I think one that can go toe-to-toe with anybody in this league. We're beating the weak teams, but we're supposed to beat the weak teams.
We weren't before.
We would struggle against weak teams. We had a lot of draws, like Montreal, etc. The one last thing I also want to throw out there, because we haven't talked about it yet, is the international call-ups. And we have a couple games, I believe, coming on these, and we're going to be missing a lot of guys on our team. So this also is going to be a bit of a wrinkle if we're going to really push the top. We're going to have to probably come up with one or two wins with insanely rotated squads with LAFC 2 players sprinkled in for a little extra sauce.
What's cool about LAFC 2, and they just announced a pre-game for someone that is going to be watching, I believe, the Toronto game. You can watch the game before that, and there'll be the LAFC 2 game at one of the USC stadiums nearby. So you have a chance to watch two teams, in one game. I wish they did that inside of BMO. I don't know why they did the game at another venue, but still very good opportunity to watch LAFC 2. And you notice, Erik, that the LAFC 2 team now is stacked. It's all these guys that are supposed to be playing with LAFC, but we have such a deep roster now that they are relegated to LAFC 2. Raposo is there. Who else? Frankie Amaya's getting minutes there. What do you think of this? The fact that LAFC 2 now gets to use our like B team, right? But they're getting minutes.
Check out this LAFC 2 lineup we rolled out last
It's
week.
insane. Go ahead.
Thomas
That's cool.
Asal, Emir Ponciano, Kenny Nielsen, Christian Diaz, Ryan Raposo, DeCarlo Guerra, Yaya Boa, Frankie Amaya, Alexandru Baluta, Jeremy Abobasi, and Adrian Wibowo. And there's a lot of really exciting homegrown talent.
That team beats the bat like a DC United any day.
At least
I don't know.
They will
give DC United some trouble. Let's put it that way.
They would win the game and then concede like a late draw goal at the end.
Oh my God.
Here.
It's wild, man. It tells you what we've done in this off season. It's not really an off season, but it tells you the power of JT. We're gonna move on here, but I gotta self plug myself. Yeah, go ahead.
The last thing I want to say, if you're going to talk about next season, is that they also released the TAM numbers or the GAM numbers that we have, and LAFC does have in the bank a little over 2 million GAM that they're going to roll over to next season. So we're going to have a little bit of money in the bank here to play with come this next transfer window as well.
To me, we bring Griezmann on a TAM deal.
No,
just
no,
gam.
no.
Don't make him a DP. Just spend him all on Griezmann, and then just make everybody happy. But like, let's not derail the show's agenda.
No, when you get a crush, on somebody and they don't return it, you don't go back a year later and have another crush on them. It's like that.
No, you bring them in on a fucking TAM deal, brother. And like, no. I will never say no to Griezmann. You just don't need to bring him in as a DP and make it the center of your attack. But you cannot say it that adding Griezmann to a team that already has Bouanga and Sane wouldn't be amazing, right? But like, again, like I don't want to derail the agenda. I need to talk about the 100 wins of our big coach.
Come on, let's go. Let's talk coach.
I need to talk about our coach because I've you and I have been through. We started this podcast on the pretense of a new coach, and he's been our coach ever since that happened. And this man just reached 100 wins. It has been a controversial year for Steve Cherundolo at the Realm. He announces that he's going to leave. He has a hard time during the summer. We doubled down by keeping him here and reloading the roster, and suddenly we're winning everything. And again, it's not a new thing. I wrote, and that's what I was saying about the self-plug, I wrote an article about Mr. October. Now, you can shit on me as much as you want, but the stats speak for themselves. By the time LAFC gets to this time of the year, Erik, the team becomes something different. And I have to give some credit to JT, of course, for all the roster changes that he's done. But someone has to integrate these guys, man. And he's been doing this every single year. Steve Cherundolo, 100 wins. All the shit we talk about him, go.
Yeah, I mean, is Cherundolo winning because of Son?
But he's done that every single year, Erik. You know what I mean? Again, that's the problem. I'll counter with that. Like every single year, his October is really good. So this is what I'm asking you about. We're ahead of schedule now, right? October hasn't even started. But like, haven't we been a little too harsh with Cherundolo given how much he's accomplished for this club? 100 wins is not nothing, man.
All right. Here's what I'm going to say. If Cherundolo wins a second MLS Cup in 4 years, I will come out and say I've been too hard on him. But the criticism we've always had is that final, how we perform in the final, especially in a tough final, not a last place Kansas City Open Cup final, like a peak Columbus in the final. This is what we need to see. And of course, he gets through. He's gotten through the quarterfinal derby, versus Zlatan. He's done that. He's gotten to the Western Conference final with a flawed Austin, and won the cup with some heroics from Bale. He's gotten some trophies, but then we've also seen us kind of not get off the bus for a lot of other finals. So I need to see a trophy lifted, and it's easy for this year because the only trophy left to lift is the MLS Cup, the biggest trophy that we have in our league. So,
correct.
If he can bust that narrative and he can win a trophy, man, I will be the first on here to say I was too harsh on Cherundolo. We're losing a coach that has won 2 cups in 4 years. Who does that? That is a shame. But he won the Supporters Shield too. He won a double. Last year, out of nowhere, after having a shitty year, he wins the U.S. Open Cup with a new roster. Like, say what you want to say. He won the U.S. Open Cup on a year that we were off. And he was very close, but stumbled upon a very, very complete Columbus team. Not once, but twice, right? They were a little bit of our kryptonite. So, yeah, I agree with you. He needs to win this cup. And again, it's a shameless plug, but I'm doing it. I wrote a really good piece, I feel like, about understanding where and how Cherundolo has changed and impacted his team. I do believe that he gets, through the player better than anybody else. And we're about to bring someone here from a team that has seen the opposite. New players have come and gone from Atlanta United and have not had the same impact that some of these guys have had. And I do believe a lot of that is coaching, dude. And kudos to Cherundolo. Check out us on pitchside.us. It's an independent website that we have.
Erik's a part of it. He's written pieces for us. And, we like to bring a fresh voice to you, journalism from people like us that have come from the stands, photographers from everywhere that want to contribute and have been putting images and galleries there for us. A great time. But again, check out Mr. October. That's my my nickname for Steve Cherundolo. I'm gonna miss him. The ups and downs of it. And let me change my angle here so we have a little bit better of a layout for Tommy. Tommy's joining us from Scarves and Spikes. How you doing, Tommy? Make sure that you put your mic on. Thank you so much for joining us. How you doing, bud?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
It's good to see you. Now, are you joining us from Cleveland, Ohio? Is that what I saw in your bio?
Yes, I am a very weird sports fan. So I'm an Atlanta United fan, and then I wore this. This is my only LA thing really to have. I guess. Well, it's not LA, but
is it a Ducks
got
jersey?
my Anaheim Ducks jersey. Oh
Oh,
yeah,
cool. Okay, go Ducks, go. So, hey, man, I really appreciate you joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, how did you get to Cleveland? Now, I know you're here, of course, to talk about Atlanta United, but talk to us a little bit about how you got to become a fan of the team and cover it. And I know you're a journalist as well.
So I've been a Falcons fan. Growing up, my best friend was a Falcons fan. I finally got to go to a game when Mercedes-Benz Stadium opened, and while I was down there, I saw Atlanta United flags everywhere. And I just started talking to people. I'm like, what is this all about here? Didn't really watch MLS at the time, and they said it's the hottest ticket in town. You need to go. You need to check it out. I came back the next season. I tailgated, hung out, and I absolutely fell in love immediately. We went to a game. There were 70,000 people in the stands. Few weeks later, I came back again. I was addicted, and then a couple months later, I came back and watched the team win MLS Cup, and it's been all in since.
Sounds familiar a little bit, right, Erik? So, Erik, I can resonate so much with the history of LAFC here. That you see in Atlanta, big city, good owners that like to spend money, an energetic crowd. Erik, I'll shoot it to you. I know you have some questions here. I have my own as well, but I'll open to you since you're the one that actually brought Tommy on the show, and you might have some questions about Atlanta, and we'll save the game for the end.
Yeah. No, it's good to see you, Tommy. We've also done a lot of the battered MLS fans, is where I know them. So shout out to the battered MLS guys and great group of podcasters together. But I guess the biggest thing to talk about is because last offseason, Atlanta had such a good offseason, bringing in La Telat and some other pieces. Almirón came back. Yeah. Every December, January in Vegas during my offseason, like I pick my dark horses, especially the good odds. And Atlanta at plus 2,400 had such great odds of those moves. I was like, man, they're one of my dark horses this year. And now they're not even making the playoffs. Like, how does a team spend that much money and then completely fall on their face so much? I guess, don't mean to hurt your feelings. Cause I know as a fan, it's tough to watch this, but how does this happen?
Well, we are the preseason champions. We won the preseason. We spent the most money, and it was all looking up. The going into this season, I mean, let's go backwards for a minute. Let's think about what happened to Atlanta United to end last season. They sneak into the playoffs. They beat Montreal on the road, and then they go and they beat Miami in a best 2 out of 3 series. And so now I'm thinking, okay, we did that, and now we're adding a record transfer of La Telat in, because we didn't really have a striker for the entire third of the season. We had backups, but not like a real starter in MLS. And then you add Miguel Almirón, club legend, onto this team. What could go wrong? And you bring in Ronny Deila as your new manager, who has won MLS Cup with New York City. The sky's the limit. Top 4 guaranteed. Everything's going to work out. The first 2 months watching them, there was excitement watching them. Maybe they weren't getting wins, but it was scoring chance. and it just wasn't happening. We're like, the goals are going to start coming eventually because the XG was there, but they were just having some bad luck. And then there was a point in the season, I think it was in April, where the New England Revolution came to town, and they were terrible at that time. They beat Atlanta in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and it broke them. They fired out back-to-back 3-0 losses on the road, and they just never recovered. And the team's not fun to watch anymore. While that month and a half that we got, or 2 months of watching the team create scoring chances, this team is absolutely terrible at giving you any excitement through this game. And you spent so much money on this attack, and it's not there. And I heard you talking about coaches, and I'm like, Erik, I don't want to hear you complain about a coach. I've been through hell and back this year.
But Tommy, and I saw an article about, maybe the answer is, Deila is not the right guy, right? But he had success in New York. He's an MLS Cup winning coach. And a lot of LAFC fans have had a problem. It's not just Erik. A lot of LAFC fans have had a problem with Steve Cherundolo and the fact that he has had some big losses in his resume, right? But he wins a lot. So what is your perception of LAFC, particularly the coaching staff, right? Like, why do you think LAFC has been successful in integrating so many players and allowing different rosters to continue to win under Steve Cherundolo? How much credit do you give Steve Cherundolo?
I mean, you have to give some. I mean, you see so many coaches fail in this league, and there's ups and downs, obviously. But when you're a team like LAFC, and I say this about Atlanta United all the time, even though they haven't been good in 5 years, but when you spend the money that these teams do, you have very high expectations. It's not just, you're not just expecting a 7th, 8th seed. You are expecting to be in that top 4 now, especially with the home at home, or the 2 out of 3. You need to expect to be there, and consistently being able to bring in different players and being able to win trophies. I was there when in Columbus. I mean, I know they didn't win that game, but like they got into a final there for Leagues Cup. I mean, you got to be there. You at least have to get to that point, and that is what LA has been able to do. I know they've expected more trophies here throughout the time, and they've fallen short. But I mean, I was also I was at. You guys were in MLS Cup with them too, correct?
Yeah.
I was there. That was all right. I was there. I
was
blank
there
out
too.
Sometimes. I know we didn't even know each other at the time.
Yeah,
that's cool. And by the way, I started to see Sorry, go ahead, Erik.
No. I would say one of the things with Atlanta that struck me is like how similar we could have been, because Atlanta came into the league 1 year before us, 2017, had a great season. And then their second season, 2018, Joseph Martinez broke the scoring record, who's still scoring a lot at San Jose, by the way. And Atlanta won the cup. And I think for us, our first year, 2018, and then 2019 was our crazy year where we won the Supporter Shield. Vela broke the scoring record, and we looked like we were a shoo-in to win the cup, except for running into Seattle in the Western Conference Finals and throwing that back. But after that, like, Atlanta basically just did a nosedive since then, where we've kind of still kept up. And it's something I always think about with Atlanta, like the trajectory, we could have been so similar. And I think how Atlanta started is a way that our club really modeled itself on, because Atlanta's first few years was as successful as you could ever be for an expansion team.
3 years.
And the attendance is insane there, which is, it just baffles me how you can have a 3x average compared to everybody else in MLS.
Absolutely. And honestly, where everything went downhill was the season 4 opening game in Nashville. Terrible field that they were playing. I think they were playing at the Titans field at the time. And Joseph Martinez hits a bad spot on the field. And that, I don't want to say it ended his career, but it definitely hurt him, because we would be talking right now about Joseph Martinez being possibly one of the greatest players ever to be in MLS. Long term, short term, he what he did in that short span, absolutely amazing. But that injury, he almost retired.
He was never the same.
No, and they tried to keep him around, but they just haven't been able to fully recover from Joseph going down that year.
Yeah, and it really comes down to DPs that we talk about it, and your DPs have to hit, and if they don't, you're gonna have a little bit of a problem. And also, smart, and you've been an MLS fan for a long time, and Erik knows this stuff really well. Smart use of your cap space, right? And I noticed when I was looking at different left backs in this league, for example, that Brooks Lennon makes a ton of money, right? He's a guy that makes over, I believe, almost $1 million. He's basically one of the highest paid fullbacks in this league, right? So do you think there's been a little bit of mismanagement on the supporting cast around, the DP? So yeah, it's easy to say Almirón didn't work out, whatever. He's not living up to his contract. But what about the pieces around him and keeping Guzan, until his, he's almost 50. I don't even know how old he is, but
41.
What do you think of the 40? I know, I'm just being facetious, but you see what I'm saying? Like, do you think some of these moves, fall in the front office? How much attention has been put into the front office and some of the moves that did not work out?
Absolutely. I mean, there's been a lot of questions there. I mean, but Brad Guzan, what he did last year, because I was questioning if he would come back this season. But after what he did against Miami in there, now he did that at the age of 40. I get out of bed and I could barely walk some days. Okay. And I'm 43. So what he was doing against Miami, absolutely amazing. But you're right. The way they spend the money, they love to go and get those high TAM players out there. Saba is one where he, one of our best players over the past few years who plays on the right wing, but you didn't need another right wing player. And Miguel Almirón came in where when last time he was here, he was a 10, but they came in and they told him, you're not playing the 10. You are going to play on the right. And we're going to move Saba onto the left. And Saba is not good on the left at all. So now he's got, I think, 1 goal this season. And it's so I say it with the salary cap, and especially with MLS, it's puzzle pieces. You need to fit in the right pieces into the right spots. Now, when you're playing video games, you can fit any player in any role and it works. But in real life, you can't just interchange players sometimes and expect the same results. And Atlanta United has done that, because if you brought Miguel Almirón to be on the right, you're paying a lot of money to Saba, who's a TAM player, a former DP player that they bought down. And he's got 1 goal the entire season. Like, things the puzzle that you tried to create did not work. And it has just caused so many problems with this team.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. We've seen how many players have we seen? Latif Blessing is a great example. As a right wing on Kansas City, he was just kind of like a whatever MLS journeyman. They move him into a destroying midfield role, and all of a sudden he becomes one of the most valuable players for a couple of years. And it's so crazy how just a position change on a player just completely changes their game and makes them so much more dangerous. But the question I would have next for you is let's say a perfect world on paper with this Atlanta roster, like what kind of game are they supposed to play? How is Atlanta supposed to win games and dominate their opponents?
Well, they say that they want to play attractive attacking soccer. They want to score a lot of goals. And a lot of that, I mean, it starts, and even go back to the earlier Atlanta United teams, it would start with the midfield, moving that ball forward, getting your star players the ball. And it has struggled throughout this time. Their number 10, Alexei Miranchuk, came in last season, and there was so much excitement for him. He was a record transfer at that time as well. And he came in, and the last season didn't do much at all. And then he came in, and I said, well, the 10 could be like a quarterback in the NFL. Like, he's got to have wide receivers to be able to create these chances for them to then be able to score. And we had MLS announcers on our podcast going, what does Alexei Miranchuk do here? We don't know exactly what he does. And it just kept happening over and over. And he got a little bit better. He's been scoring goals, but he can't set any of these guys up, and they're not scoring. But they want to play that attacking soccer. They want to go on the wings, use the speed on the wings. And it gets blown up, and we're really not sure what this team is, because Ronny Deila hasn't been able to get any consistency out of them. He's just switching lineups up, trying to figure something out, and it's just not there. And last week he called them soft after their loss into New England. Now you say that and say, oh,
and they lost.
He called him soft after the match, but here's the thing: he's been calling them
after
soft
the last
multiple
after the match.
times. He's been calling them that all season. He's been calling these players soft, and
he's lost the locker room, hasn't he?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wasn't Derek Williams the one that tweeted something like to his friend that got traded, like Shanji Silva, I think, got traded, and he goes like, "Hey, you're liberated," or something of that nature. So like that seems like to be really bad culture. So I guess my question to you is very simple: are you a Ronny Deila out, Tata Martina in? Like, where are you on the Tata dialogue? And are you ready to sack your manager after 0.75 seasons?
I think it was around July 14th that I was ready for him to leave.
Oh my God.
Well, that's where it is. I mean, when you spend that much money and it's so bad,
that's true.
Like, and it does. It looks like he's lost the locker room here. And Brooks Lennon, you talk about how much money. He hasn't started a game in well over a month for this team. He has been benched. He's a lost player here. He's been hurt a few times throughout the season, but he's been hurt, and it's a disaster right now in Atlanta. And that's the thing that I've been saying here for a while now is you need to move on from Ronny Deila. You need to start searching. Yeah. Other coaches are getting fired. They are on Tinder looking for new managers at the moment. We need to get on Tinder and we need to start finding a new manager. But right now, I mean, Atlanta United, what they like to do, they like to hire a search firm to help them find a manager. Well, last year when they were hiring their search firm, it took well over 2 months. So if it took you 2 months, you're not even looking for a manager here. So for me, it's like, okay, we got 3 games left this season. If you fire him at the end of this year, I am going to lose my mind. Just because this should have been done months ago and you were already out there looking, because you're still a high-profile team. You still spend a lot of money. You need to be able to go and get the best option that you can. It didn't work out. We get it. But we've seen other clubs. Look at how many managers Cincinnati had it early on to figure out to find the right one. And then all of a sudden it was to the moon with them. And that's what Atlanta needs to do. They need to move on from Ronny because, look, I know we won MLS Cup. It was COVID year. So, and everyone uses COVID year with any team that won during COVID year. It was a COVID year. He won that game in penalties. He was almost getting fired that season. The season they won MLS Cup. He was like on a 6 or 7 game losing streak.
And he had, wasn't it Tati Castellano? Wasn't that like his big year over there?
Yeah,
he was on fire that year.
He was on fire, and that's true. It was.
He left the league after
COVID,
that year. He was so good.
Absolutely. But remember, they lost 7 games in a row. They were under the playoff lane. They came to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and they scored a late goal in that game. And after that, it was like all of a sudden everything got turned around, and they went to the playoffs. They knocked out Atlanta United that year, and they ended up winning MLS Cup. And we all just kept hoping for that turnaround to eventually happen, and it never came.
It just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Erik.
I look at this Atlanta United like roster, and like if I'm correct, Brooks Lennon is one of the best crossing fullbacks in the entire league.
He doesn't play.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Like,
well, but he is good. Sorry, Erik. I will say he's good. But he's also very predictable, and that's been a problem with him. Is he's a little bit too predictable. They know that he's just going to cross it, aerial into the box, and that's his only thing that he can do. And he's really lost his value over the past year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
No, I know, but I mean, you put Almirón back in the midfield. Like, to me, this Atlanta team should just be spamming crosses all day long because you got some decent sized guys up front, and like, it's at least a strategy that works without too much problems. And when the team is struggling, I kind of look at the guys like you have some pretty big physical guys up front and you have some good crossers. Almiron's a good playmaker and he can cross the ball. It's like, I mean, it seems so basic. I think sometimes coaches, instead of just doing what works, they try to be cute.
Of course they try to be cute. That's what coaches are supposed to do. But, sometimes working is, like it's been working with Cherundolo like lately. Sometimes it doesn't. Last question, but I have to ask you about Sonny because before we actually break down the game, because it's been such a success story. And I know you guys have done a show at Scarves and, your podcast where, sorry, my bad. Yeah. And where you talk about his success. So, what do you think of Sonny's success with LAFC in the context of the fact that Atlanta has had such a hard time, not only with these two guys that they last brought in, but, a series of dudes that you've brought on, and it did not work out. Luis Araújo was a Brazilian. I'm Brazilian, so I know him, and he's playing really, really well for Flamengo, but he underachieved here. Of course, you had Thiago Almada, which is doing great things, but, just moved on without giving you any hardware. So, just maybe you can comment about the success LAFC has had with Sonny, but comparing at the same time with some of these letdowns that Atlanta has had.
Well, it makes me want to cry. That's first off. But I was messaging Erik earlier. I mean, when you look at duos in MLS, who are some of the best duos that you have? And one of the ones was Miguel Almirón and Joseph Martinez. When they won MLS Cup, I mean, they were the combo to watch there. And now we've got a very small sample of what you have been able to do with Bouanga and Sonny. But man, when you watch them, it is fun to watch, and it's must-watch soccer. And I honestly and don't tell MLS Moos or anyone I said this, but you guys are more fun to watch than Miami. And don't tell Chris or Danny. I know you'll talk to him, Erik, but they're more fun to watch right now. And I know that your guys aren't going to probably spit on anybody on a game either. So, and that's an advantage as well.
Or punch a minor.
Yeah.
He wasn't actually a minor, but he was close.
But I mean, when you bring two really good players together, it's either going to click or it's not. And that's the danger of that in whether it's in hockey, soccer, whatever sport. There is a chance that the two won't mesh well, and it just isn't going to work out. This has worked out, and it's very exciting to watch because when my team's not in the playoffs, I want to watch chaos. I want to watch good soccer, and I think what LAFC is going to do for the rest of the season is cause chaos because I don't think people really, before Sonny came on, thought that LAFC was going to really do anything this year. I saw Erik's mean tweets about the manager every 100%. Morning when I woke up.
And when you saw that we couldn't do anything, you saw it in Leagues Cup, you saw it in CCL, we couldn't beat Miami, right?
Our attack, we were Bouanga FC. If Bouanga got bottled up by two defenders the whole time and couldn't do anything, we couldn't unlock it. And now with Bouanga's bottled up with two defenders, it means Sonny's one-on-one, basically. If both of them have two defenders on it, it means that the other team has no midfield that is capable of doing anything, in which case we kind of march down the field slowly and progress it. So it's really rough. And one of the things I was asked is, how do you think the Atlanta defense is going to deal with Bouanga and Son?
Oof. And then could you tell us a little bit about them? I just had the lineup up, but I think it'll be helpful for everybody that watches our show to understand who are the two Barracal and, remind me of talk to me a little bit about who's on the defensive side right now.
So Stian Gregerson is going to be a regular for us. So he's usually the guy that is going to be there. He's fantastic. He came in last year. Problem with him is he's been injured a lot for us, but he is healthy right now. And then Bergjau and then also Mihaj are the two other center backs that we picked up here in the summer window, and they're trying to figure out who is going to be the guy next year next to Gregerson. So who's going to start next to Gregerson? I am not sure which one is going to, because these are the two. We have 3 games left. It's you, Miami, and then it's DC.
That's it, huh? Wow.
If I'm Ronny Deila, 100%. We looked at the schedule and we thought we were going to be a good team. It was scary. Yeah, man. And now you look at this, and I said this a couple of weeks ago when, I don't know if you saw the game, but Atlanta United was down 5-0. Or was it 4-0? It was either 4 or 5-0 or it was 5-0 to Cincinnati went 5-0 in Atlanta. In Atlanta. They did that. And I was at a concert at that time, and my phone was buzzing nonstop. I'm like, what is going on with this game? Goal, 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 goal. And I was like, this is it for Ronny. He's done. There's no way you come back from this. And then they scored 4 goals in the second half. I could not believe that they did. I'm like, come on, you guys were so close to getting this to happen, and you did not. So close, and then you ruined it for me. But like
I don't know,
I've
man.
been saying about these games, though, this LA game and this Miami game, are you expected to win them? No, they're not. But if you embarrass them, and guys, I beg you for whatever you do. Sonny, you want a hat trick? Get it. Bouanga, you want to get
All
2
right.
goals and a couple assists? Let's go. Let's like
Hey, maybe they can both
help
do
me
that.
help you.
I have a feeling some players, like if things start bad and they start kind of going south early, some players will have the exact same mentality that you have, Tommy, because they're probably as frustrated as you are. And, it's very natural for players to blame the coaches. We don't do a lot of in-season changes, so it's hard to just dump a coach you just brought in, right, if he's not working out. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but you also have some issues with your upper management. I believe your GM is out with illness or something of the nature. So is there a little bit of, I'm going to say, like, change that needs to happen beyond coaching as well? Because Arthur Blank is a great owner, man. He's going to spend money, but, like, who are the ones scouting the players? You said there's a management firm to get the coach hired. What does that say about GMs and like the fella in charge of making those roster decisions?
So Garth Lagerwey is the team president, which obviously famous for building Seattle all those years. He came in as not the general manager. He came in as the team president. Mm-hmm. So a little bit different. But then he ended up firing Carlos Bocanegra, who was the GM. So for a period of time, he needed to be the president and the GM to build this team. And then he brought on, I'm sorry?
I said that's rough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But he brought on Alexei Miranchuk, and very famously he went on the radio the next day and yelled, "We're back, baby." Like he was super pumped that this was the best signing in MLS. When you say that, you think it's the best one. So that happened, and then he waited till the end of the season where Miami there were some weird things going on with Chris Henderson in Miami, and Chris Henderson was let go, and then Garth brought him together because they've worked together before. So Chris has only had one real transfer window to build this team here. It is right now, you could say with the roster building, absolutely there were some issues. One of the things that they said when they signed players is they wanted to sign prime age players. Sounds great in theory. But then you went and signed Miguel Almirón, who's 75 years old. You're not sure how, and you pay him one of the highest
DP
salaries
money,
in the
which
league.
Is always bad.
Well, not even just DP money, top
DP money.
Top money there, and for an extended period. And it's like it's going completely against your prime age player thing. Do I think it was part of a more hey guys, I know we have been really bad for 5 years, but Miguel Almirón is here, and obviously they sold a ton of jerseys this season. But this is a big transfer window for them coming up here in the winter because there's a lot of contracts remaining. Brad Guzan's probably retiring. We're finally going to be moving on from him. But still, I go back to the front office and say that it's going to be the manager that is going to define if Garth Lagerwey, who, by the way, I didn't get to mention it. You were right. He had was diagnosed with cancer, so he took a few months off to get himself. He just came back a few weeks ago. So amazing news.
Good.
Absolutely amazing news.
Yeah, it's good. And the point of me bringing it up is like it derails an off season, right? Like you don't have this guy there every day making playing decisions. So like, it adds to your storm.
Absolutely. And the coach,
your thoughts.
That's going to be your thing here because you hold a lot of the line. Our co-hosts on Scarves and Spikes were like, well, if he goes in next season, he's probably got like a 5 to 10 game thing to prove it. My philosophy is if you're going into a season saying, well, let's just give him 5 to 10 games and see what works, it's not going to work out. Like they just if you have that many questions and say 5 to 10 games is what we're going to give them, then it's probably not going to work out. And in MLS, you create your culture in the preseason, then you go into your season and do it. Well, if you fire your manager 5 to 10 games in, like Montreal this year, I mean, basically, you've given up on your season. Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to do what Atlanta did last year, where I think they had like a 10% chance of making the playoffs on decision day, and like everything that had to happen happened. Like that is just so rare. to like have that type of success. So it really worries me what this team is going to do. Obviously, I mean, from listening to me, I'm a Ronnie out person. But man, if
I'd be a running out person too, just so you know.
Oh,
Eric,
I'd be
would you
full
be a
running
running
out.
out person too at this point? I'm like, Jesus Christ. Okay, you won this shit on a COVID year, on a fluke. You're about to get fired, and someone got hot in your team and saved your ass. His last job, he was horrible. He really did not have a good season wherever he went after New York. So he saw the writing on the wall before it happened, and then your firm picked him up, brother.
I would be rage tweeting like every Saturday and every Sunday and every Monday too.
Yeah, you should. The way we do it here at LAFC, you make the coach's wife uncomfortable and tell the coach that they have to leave, and then they take off to where they're from. Hopefully, they're from another country like Germany, and then they say we're getting the fuck out of here, and then they just take their whole family, leave you here for a year. It works well, bud. It works well, but you're going to have to bring Tata back and whatever that means to you. But I think Tata will be, a good culture infuser into the Atlanta United locker room because it looks like it's dead.
But the problem here is when he was here the first time, that roster was mostly South Americans. And they had a
I
real
love South
bond
Americans.
together.
I'm one of them. Just kidding. But
No,
you're going to have to make a
Like-
big change, right? Yeah. But anyways.
I was gonna say like what Atlanta needs to do, in my opinion, is bring on a Brazilian coach because there's a handful of really good Brazilian Brasileiro clubs that play on artificial surfaces.
They don't understand our roster rules, Eric. That's always been my
Whatever,
issue
you
with
just
that,
bring
man.
up
I'll be honest.
Richard Rios and a couple other guys, and like boom, man.
A good idea would be to bring someone from Liga MX because those two leagues are very similar. They doesn't have, like I just interviewed a Barbieri guy. He was at Juarez. For example, that would be a guy that has kind of operated in the CONCACAF space, right? And it could give you something. But you have to have some understanding
we
how
know how to fix
work,
Miami or Atlanta, obviously.
We all
I
do.
don't know.
Everybody does except Garth Lagerwey and Chris Henderson.
Yeah.
Leo Afonso got some minutes for you. Shout out to him. I got the pleasure to interview Leo twice. He's a really good young lad, very young guy. I know he's just there because he got traded there, but I hope that kid does well for you guys. Hey, let's talk about this game before we get out of here. It's 47 minutes in. We got about 13 minutes left. You're traveling all the way to Los Angeles for Sunday night. Again, like you're going to be playing a very late time, brother. You talked a lot about the issues this team's had, locker room issues. But at the same time, they have nothing else to play for. So what Atlanta United do you think shows up? Let's break down this game. What do you think is going to happen? And tell me a little bit about the script that you think. I know what you want, but tell me what you think is going to happen for this game.
Well, Atlanta United gets Bartosz Leach back from suspension, which is huge. A defensive midfielder, a big heart of the team, and you're hoping, as like I said, our summer transfer window was focusing on defense, a defensive midfielder, new center backs. That was what they did, and all I could hope for is to keep you guys under 2 goals. I mean, if you can, I'll say 2 goals or less. I think it would be there. But a big problem with this team as well is that they've made mistakes over year after year, where it's like they'll play a really good game, but they make that one silly mistake in the game, and they always pay for it. They played San Diego to a really good game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which obviously you are welcome. I mean, that was
Eric made money off this game, I believe.
I did.
Me
I
too.
had a draw in that game in my parlay. Yeah, that was my top pick.
That man hit parlays. He's gonna start writing gambling articles.
No, I'm good at parlays.
Fucking machine. Sorry, go ahead, tell me.
No worries. They need to focus on the defensive side here because Latte Loth probably will not start. He's been on the bench for the past couple of games. He's made appearances. He looks lost. I don't think I could see that turning around here.
That's so crazy. That's
I know.
insane. That's like Giroud style, Eric.
It does feel like it at times. But you're going to see Miguel Almirón. You're going to see Saba up front, very likely. You're going to see Alexei Miranchuk, our center back, where most people don't know what he's doing sometimes.
I'm going to be all over this Miranchuk cat.
Well,
he's probably going to have a doblete against us just because you talk so much shit about him, but I appreciate it.
Well, I think if I remember, I think his first appearance might have actually been against you guys.
Late last season. Yeah. I remember that when you guys came in and the Brazilians were on their way out, and I already knew that they were on their way out, and they were actually very unhappy. Didn't want to talk to me. Erik, you haven't talked. We've been asking Tommy tons of questions, which has been fun to talk ATL a little bit. But let's talk game script. How do you think this game goes? BMO under the lights Sunday night, LAFC on fire, and ATL licking their wounds. Give me the game script.
Be nice.
Oh, I mean, we're going to see my new favorite thing with LAFC.
To be nice.
When we have the opening kickoff, they just boot the ball to the other team. They say, "Here, you take the ball." I think they've been doing this. Last game too.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah,
patience.
They do, yeah. They basically, from kickoff, they kick the ball out of bounds the other end so the other team gets to start with the ball because we don't like to play with the ball. So I think that we're going to start it off like that. We're going to let Atlanta take the ball. Atlanta makes mistakes, as Tommy says. We're going to be clued in that. And we are ruthless at punishing mistakes. With Bouanga and Son, I mean, the first mistake that happened against St. Louis was a goal, and I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to let Atlanta have the ball and let them play with the ball and make a mistake because we are a transition and a counter-pressing team at this point. So I think that happens. I think we jump to a lead, at which point we keep going. Denny Bouanga and Son both get hat tricks. Dahlia gets fired, and Tommy thanks the day that Son came in. Oh, he's gone. No,
I'm back. All right, I couldn't say it's gone too long.
Mike, so Erik, okay, so you think it's just really going to be open? I have a feeling it might get ugly for Atlanta, given you have a travel schedule, you have an unmotivated roster, you have a coach that may or may not want to be there any longer, and again, a locker room that's lost, and on the other side, a team that is kicking in all cylinders. So very, very capable of doing a lot of damage if the other team decides to fold early. What's going on with Guzan right now? Is he hurt, or I know that he hasn't been starting, Tommy?
I think, and I am very happy.
Was it a little bit of succession plan?
It's succession, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's 2 road games left here against you guys in Miami. Jaden Hibbert is going to be that guy. He's going to start. He's young. They need to see what he can do. I applaud Atlanta United for putting Brad and saying, because I didn't think he would just say, okay, have the spot. Brad will start the last game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I feel like that's going to be his retirement game at home. Yeah. Get the clap. Everyone say thank you for a fantastic franchise, because he is our franchise guy. Most games played here.
He's a legend of U.S. soccer, brother. You can't get it away from him at all.
Yeah, and I agree with what you're saying. I mean, but I will say this. So they've had a couple results, despite some of the bad things that have happened. They did win on the road against Nashville, which was a complete shock, I think, to the entire MLS world. And then the San Diego game, I don't know if you watched it, but it was more San Diego than Atlanta. San Diego looked completely lost in the second half in that game. It seemed like they usually you start off slow when you travel either way, and then it's the second half you ramp up and you do it. And San Diego did the exact opposite. Looked like they were completely exhausted in that second half. I could see Atlanta definitely struggling, especially when you have new players that come into this league and they have to travel the amount of length that they need to. It's definitely hard for some players to get adjusted to that. And you hear that all the time from people that come in that are either really on the West Coast or really on the East Coast, and they got to make that first trip. I mean, Atlanta's got quite a few players that have never traveled from Atlanta to LA. And I think the combination of that and just coming into against the hottest team, it's not going to fare well. I don't think it's going to be 6-0. I don't even know if I assume it was 2 guys scoring 3 goals.
That's DC United level, Erik. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Don't be mean to Tommy. He's not going to come back.
6-hour flight. It's a big flight.
So Before I give it to Erik for LAFC starting lineup and prediction, I like you, Tommy, to name your starting 11 for Atlanta United against LAFC in Los Angeles on Sunday night under the lights at BMO.
All right. So
And if you like, I can put that thing back up there with the last game. But I'm sure you know your
yeah, bring it up. But yeah, I mean, Tiare is going to be starting up front. He's been starting with Latte Loth out. You're gonna likely have Saba on the right, Miguel Almirón on the left. They flip them around on occasion, but that's likely going to.
Almirón is the cap. I didn't know that. Okay.
Well, Brad was the guy, and then when he eventually stepped down, so Jaden Hibbert could start. He's taken over as the captain. Okay. So, I mean, they actually just random thought. Atlanta United just dropped a awesome, amazing video about Miguel Almirón, his life, his love for the city on their social media, and I was not expecting a lot going into it, but hot damn, it was fantastic. All right.
Okay.
So you're gonna see Alexi Marinchuk there, and then the midfield's where it's gonna get a little questionable where they are, but Bartosz Slisz is likely going to be in the midfield now that he's returned. And then the question is who starts next to him. Alzate they brought in here. He's been playing mostly well. I think he slips in as well. And then you continue to have Hernandez over there on the right. And we've already talked about the center backs. It's definitely going to be Gregerson, but then the question is who exactly is going to be there. And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to seeing, is because I want to see who he's got confidence in coming into a big game like this. And if there's an opportunity to do that, I think it's now. And then Pedro Amador on the left. I don't see much changes from this at all.
So Brooks Lennon is he plays on the right usually?
Yes, he's done.
And he's still benched for Hernandez, which is just a younger guy. Yeah, that's very interesting. That's a lot of lost cap when you have your DP in Latalath not starting, and Brooks Lennon not starting.
Bench.
That's horrendous, man. But it is your best lineup, and Deila's got to put them out there, and it is what it is. I'm excited to see Miranchuk now that you've talked him up so much. Man, Hat-trick. He's the 10 right there. I mean, he's got weapons. He's your QB. You just shat on him, man. Come on. Oh, come on. I'm just kidding. Erik, let's talk. Talk LA. Yeah.
Do we get a score prediction?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you guys want to do it like around at the end, or do you want to do your prediction? No, I don't care.
Well, Eric's already said 100-0.
Yeah. Why don't you give us your score prediction at this point?
I'm going to say it's going to be 4-1. LA.
4-1 LA. All right, that's a good score line. Pretty one-sided.
Not for Ronny Deila.
No, I know. Not for Ronny Deila, but if you want him out, that will certainly add to. I've seen Cherundolo kicking a lot of coaches to the curb, so he's good at that. He's a good finisher of coaches. Erik, let's talk LAFC, bud. What do you think is the starting lineup for us this weekend?
I will say on this. We do seem to leak a goal every game. This is kind of we kept the clean sheet last time, but
yeah,
it does happen. So my lineup
happens a lot.
There's some good things. That this is also the last game before international break, so I think you're going to see our best lineup out because we're going to be rotated a couple games. Back line is going to be Segura, Tafari, and Porteous. Hugo Lloris starting in the goal. Midfield we have. Timothy Tillman coming back from suspension. I think we're going to finally see Delgado, Tillman, and Moran. And I think Moran is
really? That's an interesting lineup you bring up. Thank you for bringing that up.
I think so. And I think Moran, they're going to actually put him up as a right wing. They've been doing this where they put us out as a 3-4-3, but they put one of our midfielders as one of the wingers, and the midfielder really drops back, and we kind of more just play with two attackers. But he will come up there to press. We basically are going to have an extra presser in this game. Sergi Palencia and Smolyakov playing wingbacks, and then Bouanga and Son up front finishing off the attack.
Okay. You seem to also believe it's going to be a pretty one-sided
I'm
game
gonna actually,
towards
I'm
LAFC.
gonna actually say a score. I actually think Tommy's score 4-1 is probably going to be the correct score. Although I'd love to see hat tricks from Bouanga and Son in one game.
Like
I
6-1.
I do think that if we jump up to a lead, they're gonna start resting some guys so they can get ready to take their flights to go play international duty.
I don't believe that at all. I don't think Cherundolo even thinks about international duty because that's just the kind of guy he is. But that's just my opinion, honestly.
All right.
I actually because most
Talking
clubs
about
don't.
Celso,
And
what
again,
do you got?
it's just an opinion. But I really believe that clubs give like two shits about international break because they actually don't like it. But it's just my opinion on it. But I hope we play every night, every minute we possibly can. We make Bouanga extremely tired for whoever he has to do next. I don't care. That's how I think, at least. I like your lineup, Erik. I don't have any issue with the starting 11 you bring it up. The only question, of course, it is Moran versus Chournier. I don't know who Cherundolo would be more comfortable with there in that position. Something tells me it's going to be Chournier, though, so this be the only difference to me. And it just be a little bit more of a traditional 3-4-3, whatever we want to say we play these days. I can't even tell you exactly what we play. It's really hard. But scoring wise, I'm not as confident as you all. I think there's a little bit of a defensive stance that comes from other teams when they play us. They do not want to get beat really badly, and we saw a little bit of that with St. Louis. And like we saw what happens when you don't do that. When you try to go all out, I expect Atlanta to come in and just be tight, not try too much. They don't have anything really to play for, so just don't get killed. It's probably the message. So I love the 2-1 score, classic, but I'm gonna go 3-1. I think LAFC gets that less goal, score a tight game, 2-1 for most of the time, but then LAFC 3-1 is the resolution at the end. Maybe even 3-2 if we look sloppy, and we have been looking sloppy. So 3-2 could be a good score for us.
Wait,
never threatening, but 3-2.
3-2 with the coach that says, "Hey guys, just don't get killed out there, okay?"
Yeah, no, and this is how it happens. LAFC 2-0, LAFC 2-1, LAFC 3-1, LAFC 3-2 at the death. That's how that's how a 3-2 that never looked close works. And that's the game I'm predicting. That's my script. LAFC in control, but Cherundolo's formula, again, I'm going to plug my article once again. Cherundolo's formula is to never be too aggressive, which means in the first 30 minutes of the game is going to invite you in, and even if that means it costs you a goal, he still has enough, I would say, confidence in his guys to bring the result back even after an adverse reaction in the first half. The problem is, it doesn't work against good teams, man. Against good teams, it's a whole different ballgame. You have to be very different. It also doesn't work when you're up to nothing in the first half. You have to just try something different. So, like, a lot of times, Cherundolo has a really hard time holding leads, right? But not against Atlanta United. But hey, thank you so much, guys, for being here for this past hour. Tommy, am I coming on your show this week? I heard something about it. I think there's something going on this week, and I need to be a part of it. Is that true? Plug your stuff, and how does other people find you? Someone that wants to follow a little bit more about Atlanta.
Scarvesandspikes.com. We write articles like you guys do.
Yeah, man, I saw the site. Pretty dope.
Covering the team, good or bad, or really, 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 really bad. And find me at Tommy ATL 96. And after the game, we do Twitter Spaces. I don't call it X. We do Twitter Spaces. So if anyone's on and they want to talk about the game, I'm usually on there moderating and hanging out with everyone. So if you want to come on and talk some trash or just say good game, come join me.
It's amazing that's just how you guys started, which is kind of how we started in a way, contributing to the Echo Space. Erik, before we get out of here, final words is yours, bud.
Let's just we're hoping for LAFC win. We have a big playoff push that we need, and we're going to see what happens. We're going to have 2 games, I think, without our international players, so it could be pretty thin. So we'll just see where we finish up. And what else can I say?
I mean, it's Toronto and Austin, man.
All
Relax.
my hopes. I just feel like a spoiled, entitled brat with LAFC as my team right now because LAFC, in our 8 years, we just keep chugging and we just stay relevant the whole way through it. So more of the same. And thanks, Tommy, for coming on. Always fun to do shows with you. And I'll shout out the battered MLS fans again, just because it's such a fun show to go on. And that's
stop selling your best players to Brazil, brother. If you had your two guys that you sold to the Brazilian league, it would have been good.
Araujo had one of the most clutch goals the other day.
Luis Araujo was good.
Nice.
Flamengo Corinthians, and first
he's
off,
doing really well.
Yuri Alberto had one of the worst Panenka kicks of all time that got saved. The goalie dived, and it went right to
I hope they all get saved.
He sat and just caught it, like sitting on the ground after he dove. But Araujo came in, subbed in the 70th minute, and scored the go-ahead goal to keep Flamengo in first place against a big game against Corinthians. So,
look, man, you bring Thiago Almada back, Luis Araujo, kick these two guys, and then Leo Afonso is going to get better and better. So give him a prime spot in your team. He's just a young cat, and it just bring like what's the guy that's at Corinthians that like used to play at the Dupe?
Oh no,
Martinez. Bring Martinez back from Corinthians because he's been balling. I'm talking about Martinez Brujo. Yeah, Brujo, yes. Yeah.
And while you're at it, Dorival Jr. seems to get fired from coaching jobs every 6 months. He'll probably be available. You can pick him up too.
He's a cup guy. So unless you want a cup guy, don't get him because he's not going to give you any league. You know, he's a tie merchant.
We're basically just rambling here. We're basically just rambling.
No, that's the end of the show. The show's really over, and the show's over. It's after hours, and appreciate you being here, Tommy. I know you're East Coast based, and we're gonna get out of here. Follow us on Twitter.
Thank you, chat, for coming through as always.
Yes, you guys always kick ass here. We really appreciate it. Omar is very, very one-sided and confident about what's going to happen this weekend, but it's been good, boys. Omar is a good guy, but we're here if you guys need someone. Stuck LAFC on your show, Scarves and Spikes. Tommy, thank you so much for being here. LAFC Atlanta Sunday night, we will be there, and whatever Eric's doing is the key. The sun. That's the sun. Sunny in, sunny out.
That they didn't get along. Here's a giveaway. This is Bouanga! You simply cannot give that man the ball on. Look out. Son and Bouanga coming forward together. It's Son into the area.